What's up YouTube? This is Shams coming to you with a City Skylines video, and in this video we're going to highlight a shopping center, a rail yard, and then we're going to watch me build a smaller international airport. I've read a lot online and I've seen a lot of posts of people asking, hey, what's a very realistic looking shopping area, shopping center type of thing. I've also seen a lot of videos and people talking about rail yards. Well, where I live in Chicago, we have a rather robust industrial area, and we have a robust rail yard system here. I think it's the largest rail yard system in North America, if not the world, if I'm not mistaken. So with that, I've been able to see firsthand how a lot of this stuff looks, and I've also been able to utilize a lot of Google Maps, Google Earth to give myself some ideas for City Skylines. So without further ado, let's just review the shopping center area that I've built. So what we've got here is a Walmart, an IKEA, and over here a Lowe's. Okay, this is something pretty common that you see on major avenues here in the Chicago area. So one area close to where I live is we have a major road. It's called Harlem Avenue. And for those wondering, this map that I've built, or the city that I've built, it does not model Chicago. I've just used some of the ideas from this current city that I live in to kind of sort of incorporate into the game. But at any rate, so what we have here, like I said, 3 major stores. And of course, something to really accentuate the fact that these are big, heavy stores with a lot of traffic, a lot of volume of passengers, or excuse me, a lot of volume of people coming through, is big parking lots and a lot of cars. So what I was able to do is, using this 7x6 parking lot and a 4x4 parking lot, and this was by Lim Jahi. He has created a lot of parking lots, different types of sizes of lots, and I find that these are the most realistic, and they work best for building these shopping centers or shopping areas. So what I did was I put a whole bunch of 7x6s and some 4x4s, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a gap area where I could put some shops, little shops. I got a little Caesars, T-Mobile, GNC, and Subway, and these here, as you see, operating normally. Pretty good stores, generate a decent amount of revenue. Now, the reason that we did this is, again, like I said, a lot of the shopping centers in my area, what we have are the larger stores in the back or off to the side, and then these little ancillary stores and restaurants up front, closer to the main avenue. So this fills up the parking lot and adds a little bit of flavor. It adds more diversity and commerce to the overall shopping area. You don't want to just have Walmart, IKEA, and Lowe's, these 3 mega stores with nothing else going on. I mean, you could, but again, I like the way this looks, and I think that this provides a little bit more realism. So as is in my area, you have your main avenue, and then you have kind of a grassy area where there's a whole lot of nothing. Just some trees, some grass, some shrubs, and the signs advertising for these major stores, right? And then you kind of have this sort of small parking area. It's to cater to the smaller shops. Like I said, I have an Outback here, a Hooters, and these 4 stores, the T-Mobile, GNC, Subway, and Little Caesars. Now, the way I was able to build this is, right here is my avenue, and then I was able to take a, let's see, what was it? It was a small 4-lane road. Small 4-lane road from the avenue here. And then what I did was I used this alley road right here, 2-lane alley, and I basically built this around the entire complex. Number 1, to house the parking lots, and number 2, to give vehicles access to the entire area. This is kind of important because you want your vehicles to have free access and free roam. You don't want to create a single entrance or exit. It's going to cause nothing but traffic jams. It's not something that we're really going for here, especially in this commercial area that's going to be pretty busy. You want people going in and out. Down the center, I use a 2-lane plain street. right here all the way to the back of the stores, and I'll highlight that later. That's where we want our trucks to go to deliver supplies. Again, City Skylines, they're going to go to the front of the store, but we want to simulate it, so we threw in some props and did some things to make it look realistic. Moving on, so using the prop tool, I was able to place a whole bunch of vehicles here. Again, this in and of itself gets a lot of traffic, and there are a lot of vehicles in here, but we want to give it the feel that this is a really, really busy shopping area. So using the prop tool, marquee, I was able to just grab a bunch of vehicles, copy them, and then I can place them in here. And then the City Skylines vehicles will just park in around those vehicles. It just makes it look full, and again, gives it that appearance that, you know, this area is busy and there's a lot of activity. Now moving on, as I mentioned the back, oh, and just one little thing, I threw in some speed bumps, some street lights, or excuse me, street lanes. Why did I do that? I'll just give it a little flavor, make it look a little bit more realistic, add some life to it. Over here in the corner, I threw a red box, some benches, some trees. Again, just want to add a little life to the area. The IKEA, I threw some IKEA flags in here. We want this area to look like it's alive. Also, something that we were able to do is we used a bunch of these little lights using the Road Anarchy tool. The reason I wanted to use these lights, and I forgot what they were called, they were towards the bottom, whatever they were. The reason I wanted to do it is this area is a shopping center, and typically in these shopping areas you want to attract people, so you want to make it look pretty. So by throwing in these lamps right here, it just differentiates it, makes it look a little bit different from the main roads, the main avenues, and again, it's just adds a little bit of attractiveness to the area. So moving on to the back. In the back of the Walmart and in the back of the IKEA, what do we have? Well, we've got some trucks, some pallets, a forklift, some trailers. Why do we have that? Well, again, we're adding realism. We're making this area look like it's alive, it's bustling, so we want to throw this stuff in there. If you were to pull in behind one of these major department stores, this is typical stuff that you would see. And then same thing with the Lowe's. Lowe's is a little bit smaller, so a little bit of a smaller parking lot, but of course it has access to all the other parking lots. And the same thing, we have a Lowe's truck, and trailer pull up right into the loading dock. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit smaller, oh yeah, and the other thing is along this area, threw in some avenue lights with the American flag. Again, we're just making this area look a little bit different, right? People should understand, hey, this is not the average shopping area. This is more of a shopping center. Now, as you can see, this is pretty big. So if we were to want to do something a little bit smaller, let's take a look at a smaller shopping center that I've built. All right, so in this area here, we've got a smaller Home Depot, a smaller Target. So we did the same thing using those parking lots by Lim. We threw in some 7x5s, threw in that alley road in the middle. Again, we want everyone to be able to kind of drive around this area, go where they need to go to, but also be able to park and get to all the different stores. Over here I used the old curve lamp. Again, this is a smaller area. Wanted to make it, again, feel a little bit special and a little bit different. Now, this is more of a suburban shopping area, and hence, because of that, what do we got? We've got a bunch of trees, got some flower beds here, and we've got our line of stores right here. Again, some three post lights, or light posts with 3 lights, however you want to call it. And then using the River Park mods, let's see, River Park, and that's what this is right here, and the River Park Shopping Center. This is a really good addition for anyone trying to create a suburban area, suburban shopping center. As you can see, producing pretty well. And again, you have your major stores, your major stores right here, your Target and Home Depot, and your smaller stores right here, giving people the option to, hey, you know, want to go to Pizza Hut or GameStop, or do you want to go into Target or Home Depot? Off to the right here, we've got an AMC movie theater, and we've created a parking lot there. And the same thing, guys. We want to make it feel a little special and different, so we've got the American flag posts here, got some rose bushes. We did a little bit of decorating. We want to give it that feel that, hey, you are in the suburbs, this is a shopping center, and you want to add some attractiveness. So, just as you can see, it takes a lot less space than the other one. And we still have our signage here, our Target sign, our Home Depot sign. So, just some general basic ideas for anyone trying to build a shopping center. Also back here, as you guys can see, my main avenue, I threw an AT&T sign, a UPS sign, GameStop, and Subway. Why? While cars are driving through down the avenue, we want them to be able to see, hey, what's in this shopping center? I mean, we have the signs right here, but, you know, if you're driving at a pretty decent clip, you're not going to be able to really catch this sign, especially in the location of where it's at. So let's advertise. Let's throw a GameStop, Subway. Let people know driving back here that these are stores that there are, maybe that they should turn into the shopping area. Also, it adds a little bit of life to these buildings, right? All you're looking at is the back of the buildings. Kind of looks plain, drab, boring. So throwing these signs in there adds a little bit of realism and a little bit of life. Alright guys, now let's move on to the Railyard. And the Railyard is going to be right over here. Alright, I'll let my game catch up. And there we go. Alright folks, so the Railyard is something that I was pretty passionate about creating, something I really wanted to invest a lot of time in. And I was able to do that. Now, the big thing about rail is that it's extremely effective in carrying passengers and goods, especially in an industry area. However, if you've got passenger trains and cargo trains moving at a decent clip, what are you going to have? You're going to have train Armageddon, right? So what I wanted to do here was basically create a free-flowing area where cargo trains and passenger trains are going to be able to move through pretty easily without getting logged up or jammed up. So let's just go over the basics of the Railyard first. We have two main lines here. This is going to be my main passenger line, and this is going to be my main cargo line. Of course, to enter the Railyard, they're going to converge. This is going to be the main cargo line, which is going to lead to all these different, oh goodness, there's a lot going on here. Sorry about that, guys. Cargo train terminal, in addition to the cargo train terminal. And keep going, there we go. We've got the freight terminal, and over here we've got another cargo train station. Alright, so now the frames are going much better. Okay, so since we've got all of our cargo moving up and down this rail, what's going to happen is our passenger line is going to get kind of congested and clogged up here. It's going to fall behind all the cargo trains, and it's just going to create, like I said, Trainmageddon. So what I did was I created this spur line right here, which is going right through the yard. And as you guys can see, this has become my passenger line. So in order to do this, I used the Traffic Manager President Edition, went in there, and I put some restrictions on the cargo lines. So this way the passenger lines would utilize this line, and that's all. What I also did was put restrictions on passenger line for all the other lines. The reason I did that is I don't want my passenger trains utilizing the other lines because I have static objects here placed to add realism and life to the Railyard. Anytime you go to a Railyard, what are you going to see? You're going to see a lot of trains that are going to be disassembled, kind of off to the side, staged. This is where cargo is going to be loaded and unloaded, and this is where trains are going to be built ultimately once cargo is loaded for them to move on to their journey. So as you guys can see, lots of rail cars placed here, lots of engines, lots of activity going on in this Railyard, with the exception of these two lines and then my passenger line. Now, some other things for realism's sake. What I did was I created a pretty decent gap and then created two lines right here. Why did I do that? Well, this is going to be my intermodal line, my intermodal area. And I've got my intermodal cranes here, my two intermodal trains, a bunch of stacks right here, right? I've got my intermodal cranes right here, picking up stacks, loading, offloading. I got some trailers. This is a very common thing to see in a intermodal yard. You're going to see a lot of trains that are going to be stacked up on one side, and then you're going to have a lot of trains stacked up on the other, very specific to what they are. So like I said, an intermodal area and then a regular train area. So all of this is very industrial, right? So I created an industrial fence, sort of created a perimeter all around the rail yard. Why did I do that? Well, again, it's a rail yard. You don't want anyone just walking in. So we created a fence area. We also threw in some grass. Why? Well, it just adds a little bit of dirt and realism. Just noticed I got to fix that fence over there. Some grass, and the grass adds a little bit of realism. Obviously, this is a dirt area, a grassy area, a concrete area. You're going to have weeds and things like that popping up because this isn't going to be a road frequently traveled. So it just adds a little bit of life and color to the area, and I like it. What I've also done is I've put a bunch of these floodlights big. They add a ton of light, and they, again, have a pretty industrial feel. If you guys want to take a look at how it looks at night, and there you go. Everything is very well lit up. You kind of know you're in a major area, right? A major construction area, a major area of commerce. You've got these big floodlights here, kind of illuminating everything. So again, very common in rail yards in and around this area to be lit up in this fashion. So something I did to sort of, like I said, give that realistic feel. Now, in addition to that, what I had was anytime you have open space, you want to go ahead and you want to fill it up. Again, just makes it look more realistic, makes it look a little bit prettier. So I wanted some space between my my rail yards or my cargo facilities because I don't want trains stacking up on top of each other. So I had a lot of open space here. Well, let's make it a construction area. Threw in some dirt over here, some scrap metal. I got all my construction trucks here. I've got a big crane. Throwing some dirt right here on the road, make it look like, you know, trucks are entering and exiting, right? Threw in some signs right here showing that, hey, there's a yield ahead, you know, caution construction ahead. It's just, again, we're making this area believable. We're making this area look pretty, even if it's looking pretty by looking dirty, right? It just adds more feel that this is a active rail yard and that there's stuff constantly happening. All right, every rail yard has one central exit and entrance, right? Some maybe have 2 or 3, but at least the ones in my area, they have one central entrance and exit. So I created that right over here. I've got my entrance lane, my exit lane, a lot of skid marks, a lot of trucks entering and exiting. They're entering a dirt road, so we want to make it look dirty. Of course, got a police car here, kind of staged in case there's anything going on. My little guard post, my stop signs. And over here we've got our little blinking arrows right and left. Dirt road ahead. Again, it's just advisory to everyone driving here. And we've got some trucks here, some construction vehicles kind of smoothing out the road, the dirt road that is. We're going to put some scattered tanks, some scattered lumber. Over here, we've got a lot of pallets and things like that, loading zone. We've got flatbed, a truck. This is probably stuff that was just brought in, assisting with the construction, or maybe stuff that will eventually wind up on a train. I mean, who knows, right? But again, filler makes it look kind of nice, makes it look like there's stuff going on, gives it that busy feel, right? In addition to the yard, we've got some signals here. Again, very common to see these signals in a yard. We've got a railroad crossing right over here. It's for vehicles to get from this side to the intermodal side. And we've got some skid marks and things like that. I still have a lot to do in terms of dirtying up the roads and adding some tire marks, but it's coming along nicely. We also got some cameras here. Why? Well, cameras are to record the trains coming in and out. There is a system, I don't know what it's called, but there's a camera system that exists that actually records the serial numbers of every train car coming through the main line. This gives the Railyard the ability to know and track what train car is moving in and out, and obviously what it's loaded with, manifest. And moving along over here, we also threw in some signals here to enter and exit the yard. Of course, they're just regular green signals. I can't even click on them, but they're green signals. I can't remember what the mod was. Let's go signal. And they're right here. So it's these main signal for railroad. So I use these right here. I believe this is the one I used. Yep. And again, it's just in the absence of an American style signal, which I wasn't able to see on Steam. So it's just something to show, hey, look, adding that realism of the rail entering and exiting. Other thing I was able to do, and this is adds a lot of realism through the Traffic Manager President Edition. As you guys can see, I've edited the speed. Rail yards typically have a 10 to 15 mile an hour restriction on speed. So I went ahead and basically simulated that. We want the trains moving through nice and slow, right? There's a lot of stuff, going on in this area. A lot of cars, a lot of people, a lot of activity and work. Last thing we want is a train barreling through at 50 miles an hour. It's a good way for someone to get hurt, killed, or an accident to be created. So this is the rail yard kind of overview. Taking a peek, and we've got some factories here. We've got a tank here. So some more factories here. And ultimately, this is going to all lead towards this long industrial area, right? And this is, again, convenient because here are a lot of factories, a lot of industry. Trains come in, trucks come out, and they have access to all these factories to deliver goods. And just to give you guys kind of an idea of how it looks in motion, let's unpause and let's give it a look. So we see our train moving nice and slow. And again, this is just a very, very busy area, a very active area. And here comes a freight train, again moving fairly slowly, entering the yard. And then, as you guys could see, he's taken the main line, the cargo line. We've got our buddy over here taking the passenger line. And again, this is a big deal to reduce any sort of congestion. As you guys know, train congestion can really cause a ton of problems in city skylines. So always good to keep your passenger lines, and your cargo lines. You don't want to really have them mixing up too much. So, all right, guys. Well, that's my overview on just a couple shopping centers and, like I said, a rail yard. And hope you guys enjoyed that, and let's watch me build my international airport.